Hey guys, so a few weeks ago now I was sent a lovely package from the lovely people at Wool Couture, and I showed it on the podcast back when I received the package. They sent me a huge, look at that, it's like a head size skein of their super bulky yarn, and I filmed like the showing you everything in the package. I filmed that earlier when I got the package, but I accidentally deleted the introduction footage, I guess, before it, so I'm just filming that again now. So yeah, my name is Mina, in case this is your first time to this channel, and I regularly host the Knitting Expat podcast, and I thought I would do a little vlog for showing you what I make with this yarn. So I'm gonna cut now to the unboxing type thing. It's not really an unboxing, but like showing you what they sent me and what Wool Couture sent me, and I will also, I filmed the winding of this yarn as well, which in itself was quite an adventure, and then we'll cut back to talking about what I'm going to do with it. Alright. Okay, so first things first, they sent me this really cute tote bag with the name on it and their tagline. The difference is huge. It's a really good size. It's a good size for a small project, and it would actually be perfect for this project, I think. And yeah, the bag's pretty crumpled up, but that's just because it's been in the post and customs opened my package before it got to me. But other than the tote bag, they sent me a pair of wooden knitting needles. Again, these are super chunky, and these are 15mm, I believe. Got it upside down here. If it will focus. We go, 15mm wooden needles. They are huge. I've never knit with, well, I have knit with chunky yarn before, chunky needles, but this will be the first time in a long time since I've done that. And then the yarn they sent me is this beautiful skein of super bright orange, super chunky yarn, and it is so chunky and it's so soft. I believe it is 100% superwash merino. I will need to double check that on their website. There's no tag on it, but it's super squishy and soft. I'm not entirely sure what the yardage is on it either. I will need to check that as well, and I will let you know when I next check in. So this is what they sent me: tote bag, needles and yarn, and I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna make with this, and I will check back in with you guys later once I've figured out what I'm doing. All right. Okay, so we have our wound cake of yarn and our 15mm needles. These needles are freaking huge, but awesome at the same time. And yeah, so I think what I've decided to make with this is a it's like a cowl, scarf slash cowl. There's 130 meters in 200 grams of this yarn. So because I'm not entirely sure how far that's going to get me, I think I'm going to start it with the intention of joining it at the end to make a cowl if it's not long enough to be a scarf on its own. Otherwise I might make it a scarf if it's going to be, if it ends up being long enough on its own. And I've decided to go for a Fisherman's rib texture pattern because it looks good from both sides. It's a and it's different to your regular ribbing. It looks a bit more like brioche actually, and sometimes some people get them mixed up and think that Fisherman's rib is brioche, but it's not quite the same. It gives a similar effect, but it's not the same, and it's much easier to do. There's no purling involved with Fisherman's rib, which makes it great for working on super chunky needles and with chunky yarn when manipulating the yarn. And stitches might be a little bit more cumbersome than you're used to. Sorry about the background noise, it's just Derek actually on the cat tree. Usually he's sleeping. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna cast on and I'll be back with you in a second. So I've decided to cast on 17 stitches for this cowl. You need an odd number of stitches for Fisherman's rib. And yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. There is one setup row which is just knit all the stitches. And you can see I've left quite a long tail for seaming at the end. I'm just gonna knit all the stitches. Okay, so I've got all the stitches knit for the first row. Then the first row of the pattern is knit one below until the last stitch, and then you knit one. So you knit one, then knitting one below is you insert the needle tip into the stitch underneath the one that's on the needle, wrap the yarn and pull it off. Just repeat that, knit one below, knit one below, and then when you get to the last stitch, you just knit the last stitch. Okay, and so that's what it should look like at the end of the first row. It doesn't look like much yet, but once you've done a couple more rows, it will make more sense. And so on the second row, so it's a 2-row repeat. So the first row is knit one below, last stitch, and up until the last stitch, and then you knit one. And so the second row is knit one, then you knit one below. So that's the repeat for the second row. It's knit one below, which is the same, but you just start with an extra knit one. I'll put the instructions in the description box below this video on YouTube. And keep going. Till you get to the last 2 stitches. Here comes Hugo. And then the last 2 stitches you just knit 2. And that's what it looks like after 2 rows of the pattern. And so then you just keep going, repeating those 2 rows. Sorry, Hugo is headbutting the tripod. Stop it, Hugo. Stop it. So you keep going, just repeating those 2 rows until you get to the length that you want. So okay, so I'm a little bit past the halfway point of the amount of yarn that I had. So I had 200
grams to begin with, and I have a little bit less than 100 grams left now. So I thought I'd stop and check in and show you guys what it looks like so far. So this is what the Fisherman rib looks like on the right side. And you may notice I have a slight little mistake here, but it's not a big deal. I noticed it when I was like halfway up the scarf already, and I didn't want to rip back, but I will come back to that in a second. So this is what it looks like. This is technically the right side, the front, and this is what it looks like on the wrong side. So it is perfectly reversible, which makes it great for ribbing, or for like a scarf, or at the edge of a hat, or cuffs, or anything else like that, or a cowl, which is what this will be. Got through about half of the yarn, and it's used, and the length I've gotten is about 1/2 meter total, a little bit more than 1/2 meter at this point. I could have done fewer stitches, it is quite wide. I've done 17 stitches on this one. I could have done 15, and it would have been like a couple of stitches narrower, which probably would have been better for a scarf, but I think for a cowl this will work pretty well. And yeah, I really like it. And like I said, there's a slight mistake there, but what I'm planning on doing anyways, I actually prefer the way the yarn, the pattern looks on this side, with a slightly because you have basically a 1-stitch garter border on either end, which you could do wider if you wanted to have more of a garter edge, but I actually like the way this looks on this side better, and you can't see the mistake from this side. I might come up and say hi in a second. There he is. Okay, Hugo, people really don't want to see your bum this close. All right, you want to see how soft it is? Yeah, I think getting Hugo's seal of approval with the scarf. But yes, that's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to seam it so this wrong side, what is technically the wrong side, will be what's on the outside of the scarf. Hey, buddy. No, it's not for you to eat, okay? So yeah, so one ball of this, one skein of this 200 gram yarn, 130 meters, will be more than enough to get you a cowl that's going to be long enough to fold a couple of times around your neck. Okay, and now we're done. As you can see, we're done with the knitting. I knit up almost all the yarn, so this end and this end is all that's left remaining from the skein. I wouldn't have had enough to do another repeat. I thought I might have done, but I wouldn't have had enough to do another repeat or 2 rows before binding off with what's left anyway. So I now have plenty of remaining left to seam. So what I'm going to do with the side that I want to be the outside, so for me it's going to be what was technically the wrong side, although it is a fully reversible pattern. As you can see here, this is the right side, this is the wrong side. I'm going to actually seam with the wrong side facing outwards, because I just prefer the way that that one looks a little bit more than the other way around. And I'm just going to line them up, making sure that it's not twisted, or of course you could do a twist if you want a Mobius style cowl. Line it up like that, and then I'm just going to mattress seam the 2 sides together, and then we will have our finished cowl. I will include a link in the description box below to a really good tutorial on how to do the mattress seam if you are interested in that, and you're not sure how to do it. And otherwise I will be back to show you what it looks like finished. Okay, so this is what the finished cowl looks like, and you can see the seam running down the back there. So this is now the outside, and this is the inside of the cowl. the seam on the inside. It is quite a bulky seam, obviously, with bulky yarn, and using the mattress that she could use a provisional cast on and then graft the ends together if that's what you want to do, but I don't mind. This will be at the back of the neck anyway, so it won't be that obvious, and it's just a really nice bulky weight, super bulky weight cowl, and it's really soft. I really love this yarn, it's really soft. The only thing I would say is if you are doing an item with this yarn that requires seaming, be very gentle with the yarn with the seaming. I did tug a little bit too harshly at one point and pulled the fibres apart, but it's not a problem. I was still able to seam it, and it's still got a very strong hold once it's been seamed in. I then just used the leftover yarn and just wove it back and forth through the seam just to reinforce it a little bit extra. Not necessarily my neatest seaming job, but it does the job. And yeah, so now I'm just gonna take you off the tripod and show you what it looks like on. Okay, so this is what the cowl looks like when it's on and you're finished. This is doubled up around the neck, so see, it's nice, like double thick. It's really warm and cozy. I'm not actually going to be able to keep this on for very long because of how warm it is, but I thought I'd show it to you quickly. This is what it looks like worn, doubled up, and you can also have it on as a single loop. I'm trying to figure out the best way to show you this. Put you down for 1 second. And then this is what it looks like as a single loop. Of course you can knit the length shorter, you don't have to knit it as long as I did. This is what it looks like. It does come down quite far, and this would be great for like tucking in under a jacket or a coat or something if you're wearing it out in the winter. So yeah, that's the project that I came up with. Excuse the mess in the background, I'm midst packing up, but yeah, that's what that turned out like, and I really like the finished object. It's really bright, and it's great to add a bit of colour to your winter wardrobe. Alright, so I think that's it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure you check out Wool Couture if you're looking for some super bulky, fun, quick knits. Alright, bye!